So today I'm going to talk about the YouTuber Jedite1, who had a really big influence on a lot of people, and in 2007 was actually my favorite YouTuber to watch. Now he did video game content, but that's actually not the only reason that he became successful. He really was doing a lot of the vlog styles that were popular at the time and was able to really talk about very personal information that really no one else would talk about, and wasn't trying to convince anyone that he was cool or above it all. He would talk about depression, weight loss, high school, and he had a horrendous high school experience, girls, and kind of everything else, along with having a encyclopedic knowledge of video games. He got to start doing this series Crappy Games, where he was ripping off the AVGN, Angry Video Game Nerd, but he moved away from that pretty quickly and started doing his vlog style Q&As, where he would answer questions from his community.
It'll take you 10 seconds for you to do anything in this game. It'll take you 10 seconds to throw a punch in this game.
To put this in comparison of how small YouTube was at the time, it came out in 2005, but in May of 2006, Smosh had the biggest YouTube channel with 2,986 subscribers. And then the next year, there's a screenshot from August 2007, Smosh still at the top spot, but this time they have 148,000 subscribers. So even in that 1 year span, YouTube grew by a large amount, but still, this puts Jedite very close to the top 100 YouTubers at the time. So he had a director's account that let him upload longer videos. So he'd do these Q&As that were usually around 45 minutes long. At the time, YouTube was dealing with a lot of copyright complaints and lawsuits. So they eventually limited the amount of YouTube videos to 10 minutes in order to cut down on people uploading full movies. Of course, people do this, they would just break it up into 10 parts, but it still cut down on it a little bit. Probably saved him some server space too. And he got a very big fan base at the time. And I think it's worth doing a bit of a deep dive into not only what happened to him, but also how influential, and I think ahead of the time, he was doing this type of content. For his short span of 2 years, he got over 7,000 subscribers, which at the time was very good. Now, his videos have been somewhat archived. There's a channel, WWF Lightweight, that has wrestling videos and Jedite videos. Because, of course, those things go together. I mean, Jedite would talk about how he likes wrestling, but his channel is really video game focused. But it doesn't look like anyone has the full archive of his videos, even though he was only around for about 2 years, and then would pop in for a couple videos in 2010 and 2012. Doesn't seem like everyone has all of his videos, which is kind of a shame, and he eventually shut down his channel. But what set him apart was not his AVGN clones. In fact, he himself admitted that his Crappy Game series was not very well received, and that he himself didn't really like doing it. He didn't really like his voice, which was very kind of nasally.
Mr. Lunt asked me, what are your top favorite 5 RPGs that you ever played? The top 5, I have to say, are definitely the ones that stick out in my mind. Final Fantasy IV for the Super Nintendo, also known as Final Fantasy II for the Super Nintendo, Shining Force for the Sega Genesis, Phantasy Star 2, Tales of Destiny, and Pokemon Red and Blue. Yes, I was a Pokemon fan back in the day, so shoot me, okay? And I was up in, because I remember playing so many hours on Pokemon Red, and I mean, I had over 150 hours into Pokemon Red, because I got a whole 151 Pokemon. But after Gold and Silver and like all that stuff came out, it just got ridiculous. It just got to the point it was like, oh my god, how can you get that many Pokemon? I mean, it's like you have to donate your entire life to it. It's like, it's almost as bad as World of Warcraft. Seriously.
And he would simply talk off the cuff, and he was actually really good at it, despite the fact that he had kind of a, we'll say, interesting voice, a voice that he said he hated and a lot of other people hated. It certainly sounded like no one else. It was definitely very dorky. He kind of embraced this. Rather than trying to act like he was cool, rather than trying to pretend like he was something that he wasn't, it actually came off as pretty honest, and his wealth of knowledge was kind of amazing. Now, the fact that this channel didn't survive is actually not that surprising. I would watch his Q&As, and he would talk a lot about depression. He would talk a lot about how he loved video games, but also, he had a terrible time in high school. He actually ended up never finishing high school, and he would skip school to play video games. He was depressed. He didn't have a girlfriend. He hated himself. He was overweight at the time, which was interesting because he actually is not overweight in any of these videos. Apparently, he just lost weight and was now at a normal size. So he had a love and hate relationship with video games. He really liked them, but he admitted himself they took up way too much time and that he used them as a comfort.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I had that much anger in me because I just hated everybody. I hated myself first of all because I felt that I was inferior to everybody else, and I was bitter against the world, you know. And even though the feelings of hatred and bitterness have kind of gone down a bit, you know, it's still kind of there. I still kind of have it. I just do my best to suppress it. You know what I'm saying? Even though I opened up a bit ever since over the last few years, I've kind of opened up. I really didn't start to open up till like maybe in the last 2 years or so. You know, in the last 2 years, I kind of opened up to people. Before, I was to myself. I didn't talk much. You know, I was very, very a loner guy, you know. I didn't care about anyone else but me, you know. Like I said before, I dropped out of school. I got my GED later on. But like I said before, being overweight in this day and age, in this country, is not easy at all. And I know how a lot of you people feel that are overweight that are watching this video. I definitely know. I understand wholeheartedly. I was pretty much overweight from birth to I was about almost 17 pretty much. You know what I'm saying? But 17 I started to really lose the weight, you know what I'm saying? I started to really look at conscious of my weight and stuff like that. And the thing is that like even when you get hired at jobs and stuff like that, when you're overweight or whatever, you have like you feel like you're sloppy, you know what I'm saying? Your clothes don't look right on you, you know what I'm saying? And here is a picture of me at the beach when I was around 12, 13 years old, wearing a Kenny shirt. I was maybe about 100 and maybe 200 pounds, and I was only 13 years old at the time, 12, 13 years old. This was around 1999 or so. When I was a kid, I had no self-confidence. I had none. And to be honest with you, the only child memories I really have of my childhood is my video games. That's what I did with all my time. You know, that's the reason why I have so many games, you know what I'm saying? Because that was basically what I did throughout my childhood. Because I didn't go outside. I had nothing really going for me outside. You know?
He would also talk about losing weight and depression and things like that other people really weren't talking about. At least people in the video game space. There was vloggers that would do that. You know, like the bohemes and stuff that would just turn on a webcam and talk about God knows what. But really, in the video game space, to talk about this stuff, no one was really doing that. And also, another reason why it's not that surprising this channel ended is because even with what would be considered a small fan base today, it was actually pretty big back then, and it was growing really, really fast. And a lot of people don't like the attention that they start getting, especially if they start getting noticed on the street and stuff like that. People trying to find their addresses. Once again, it sounds kind of crazy that a 9,000 subscriber channel would have problems like this, but this is at a time where a lot of people didn't subscribe. They didn't even know about subscribing. So if you look at the views on his videos, he's getting tens of thousands for just standing in front of a camera. Some of his crappy games get up to 100,000. Know a lot more now that if you subscribe to a video, you get the videos come into your inbox. But people really didn't know that back then. Even then, I don't think I ever subscribed to Jedite. It was never really explained by YouTube what a subscription even meant. He was also really good with computers. He was a PC tech at the time, which is interesting because he didn't really talk about computer games that much. He would pretty much be focused on console games. But he definitely kind of knew what he was doing with computers. And also he was going to start going to college. So you can see going to college, being a lot busier, and actually wanting to get a real job. It's not like people were making a ton of money on YouTube at the time. He actually had to be part of the partnership program, which I don't believe he ever got accepted in from what I can see. Whereas here, if you get 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, you can apply for monetization. And then they'll start running ads on your videos. But back then, they had to specifically invite you into a partnership program, which you probably could have gotten, but the peanuts that you would technically make on YouTube at the time compared to an actual PC tech job that was then translated into going to college for computers. So once people start getting really good jobs, they just kind of forget about it. But it is kind of unfortunate because you could really, once you have a fan base like that, you really could just release a video a few times a year, especially with his stuff, which, despite the fact that he was a PC tech, it's not like his stuff was like amazingly edited or anything like that. In fact, it was very, very bare bones. And he was one of those people that was able to just kind of turn on a webcam and talk, which is really the easiest type of content, but I think also kind of the most respectable. If you can actually command an audience by just talking with the webcam, kind of like the Moist Critical guy, a lot of people get jealous of him because he has, 15 million subscribers, and all he does is just talking to a camera and basically does no editing. His videos probably take, an hour to make. So, yeah, I think it's at this point in 2024, Jedite is gone. Well, he's been gone for a long time, but I think it's important, especially at the beginning of YouTube, so what I want to do with this channel, to look back, reminisce, and also talk about the influences that people had on other people. There's people like Happy Console Gamer that talked about how would watch Jedite's content, and Happy Console Gamer is doing really good. He has, 350,000 subscribers. So he definitely influenced a lot of people, was really honest, and kind of embraced himself, and didn't try to be cool while also talking about stuff that no one else would really talk about. Another reason why he might be a little deleted his channel, because he really does talk about being depressed a lot. And especially seemed like when he was doing the channel, he was in a better space, but man, when he talks about his high school, and some of these videos have been deleted. I've watched some of them, but some of them are gone, because there was definitely ones I watched where it was like, wow, this is like the most depressed. I mean, he would even say he was suicidal during high school. So yeah, you can almost see why he would want to delete those videos. I'm sure he's in a better space now, but he does still have a PSN. Well, Jedite1 PSN that shows some of the games that he plays. But that's it. It's over. His YouTube journey has been done for more than a decade. It really ended probably about 15 years ago. But it's an interesting look into that time period, and someone that I think really got successful by being themselves and talking off the cuff, which I always think is very, very interesting. Jedite1's last ever Q&A was on January 1st of 2008. By January 1st of 2008, it was pretty much over. He then released another video in 2010, which I'll play a little bit of, and a very odd one in 2012, where he doesn't talk about video games at all.
That if it wasn't for you guys, Jedi wouldn't be able to really get there. And I was looking on my subscriber list and stuff like that. And I really thank my subscribers. I mean, when I first started, I thought I wasn't even going to get 50 subscribers. Shit. I thought that this is going to be just another fluke idea that I had. So I really thank my subscribers for really, bringing that out of me, I guess you could say. And I really give yourselves a round of applause for that. And I really, truly thank everybody for that. And I'm truly grateful. As far as my future videos, I'll be able to make videos here and there, but not like as regular as I used to. And my future videos are not going to be really Q&A videos, because I haven't been able to I'm not really playing the newer games really, because I think a lot of the mainstream gamers are playing newer games and playing Xbox 360, so forth. I've been I'm probably going to mostly talk about, import games, stuff like that, maybe rare obscure games that people don't really talk about or really get much exposure about. I'm something to talk about those games, if I make really a lot of videos again. So, I really probably going to change the direction of this channel and stuff like that, because I think, to be honest, even though people love my Q&As, I think they were getting a little redundant after a while and stuff like that. People started getting tired of them and stuff like that. So I really, want to shift direction into what I'm doing, I mean, I'm not going to change the Jedi character. No, of course not. People are gonna still recognize the sarcasticness of Jedi, really.
Into 2007, it was over. He was moving on, and he explains why in this video. And I just thought I'd do a little memory of him, because he was very influential, and as I said before, had a really good skill to talk off the cuff, and I kind of wish he had continued with this. But given the personal information that he released, I think that's why he stopped doing it. I think you look back at some of the stuff you do when you were younger, and even if people like it, you see this with bands, some of their best music will be when they're younger, and then they go, oh, it sucks, I hate it. It's like, that was actually your good album. But if it comes off too immature, especially his crappy game series, he's cursing all the time, making, ridiculous jokes. He maybe doesn't want an employer to see that. We have seen this many times in the early days of YouTube. People get embarrassed, or they think it's going to hurt them career-wise to have these videos up. And also, there wasn't a great way to monetize it. So, this is a little tribute to Jedite. I might do another one of these, going a little deeper into his actual videos. But this is just kind of an overview of him. We'll be doing more content on this channel about old school YouTubers, mostly focused on video game YouTubers, basically what I used to watch in 2006, 7, and 8. I already did a little one on Armac 21, so I think I'll do one on The Hill 88 next. So like and subscribe, thanks.